Well-being at work has never been more important. In fact, the World Economic Forum says it's now become a business priority. Companies that invest in and promote well-being are able to attract and retain talent, boost productivity, and of course, keep their clients very happy. The numbers speak for themselves, so let's dig into them with Claire Corbett. She's the CEO of Rightpoint Global, which is a small company having a big impact here in Switzerland and beyond when it comes to well-being. And Claire, just level with me first of all. For many people, well-being is just a nice to have.
Well, absolutely, because I think in the past, people saw well-being as being sort of a fluffy topic and something that was nice to have. But we see from the data and the figures that it's becoming more and more a business critical priority because we saw even before pandemic, increasing levels of anxiety, depression, and a lot of these symptoms were manifesting in companies. So it really is an important factor now for us to focus on and learn more about. And we also see that research is building in this space, and we're learning more about what is well-being and how does it impact businesses as well as the employees.
Well, maybe you can start by explaining what well-being is then.
Yeah, so it's a very broad topic, but in general terms, it's when we are feeling really engaged with life and we're performing at our best, really, and we are flourishing in our environment, and that can be in our personal lives as well as our work lives.
But isn't that our own responsibility? Where does the employer come in here?
So where the employer comes in is not everyone has the skills or the know-how to bring themselves to a better place with regard to well-being. So some people struggle with how do they feel better in their personal lives or at work. So the employer, the role they have to play or they can play is by providing interventions, training, educational, upskilling their workforce on these particular aspects on how to bring the best out of people. And also, I would add that companies can really build an environment that is conducive to well-being.
All right, why don't you give me the top 3 things then that a business can do to develop well-being in the workplace?
So top 3 would be absolutely number 1, build awareness and education about what well-being is. And then at the same time, building that awareness at the senior levels, because it's so important to get buy-in at the senior levels so that they understand the importance to the bottom line in that productivity increases and so on. So they realize the connection between well-being and business. The second thing is ask your workforce, ask your employees, what do you need? Where are you struggling? Where are the pain points? And get that feedback directly. And the third thing is to really keep it consistent. Well-being and building well-being is a journey, and showing that consistent commitment is what gets the results.
So what does a typical journey look like then, you just mentioned?
Yeah, so a typical journey, we've developed a methodology in-house called Rightpoint Navigator or P-Navigator. And this maps out a typical journey for our clients. And we start with an assessment phase to really figure out where's a company at on their well-being journey, and to really figure out where are their pain points, because every company is unique, and really find out where are their particular challenges. So we know where to focus on. And then we go into a strategy, and we develop with the client a strategy that addresses those pain points.
So these are the trainings, the exercises that people can do to address the pain points. But can you just give us some examples of what kind of pain points are you talking about here?
So a pain point, a typical one would be high absenteeism. So people are out of work. Last year, 51% of sick days were taken due to mental health related issues. That's a huge number. So that could be a pain point or a symptom, and it's important to get to the root cause. Why? Why are people missing work days? The second thing would be, people are leaving the company. There's the big leave, the great resignation that we've all heard about. Like, why is that happening? People are choosing more than the paycheck now. So companies need to up their game in regards to well-being to make sure they have that staff retention.
How did you get into this work?
Good question. This started way back in my 20s, would you believe? I moved from Ireland, where I'm from, over to California. And of course, it's the home, Northern California is very conducive to well-being and learning all about this. So whilst I was working in the corporate world for 20 odd years, all along I was always interested in well-being, my own personal well-being, and what it meant to work for a company that had well-being as a priority. And the difference between a company that does and a company that doesn't is huge.
Well, maybe you can give us a bit more detail on the kinds of impacts your work has.
So I see, just on a personal level, people see life a little bit differently. They can work on their mindset through our interventions. They can start living life now as opposed to waiting for the next holiday or waiting for, in some cases, retirement to really start living. So to embrace life and to bring out their strengths and focus on the positive aspects of life, really. So it becomes more fulfilling for them as individuals. So that's a huge impact.
But what about the business side of things? Because, we talk a lot about the bottom line. We've given some great statistics about how it does impact. Are we seeing real impact on that?
Yes, and we have data to prove it, which is that we see that attrition rates reduce when people feel more belonging, a sense of belonging to a company and a purpose. Therefore, the cost of replacing expensive resources is significantly reduced. So that affects the bottom line when you've got cost savings. And the second impact is that companies can attract better talent because of their offering, their strategy. They can show, especially the new generations, Gen Z, they want more than just the paycheck, as I said. So we're really seeing that companies who embrace well-being, they attract the top talent.
What kind of companies do you work with?
Well, it's a really broad range, actually, from business, finance and banks, all the way to sporting governing bodies and also pharmaceuticals. So it's a really broad mix of industries, and small companies come to us that they need help building that wellbeing strategy, or the larger companies come to us to get extra support.
And where do you see all of this going? Where we are in Switzerland, well-being is probably only just kind of scratching the surface, I would imagine. Where's the potential? Where do you see this developing?
Well, I think it's an extremely interesting space to watch because, as you say, Switzerland are just getting on the track and realising the importance of well-being. And I think there's a long road ahead, but I'm very encouraged that, so many HR leaders that I speak to, or diversity and inclusion leaders or CEOs, are beginning to awaken to the priority, and they're starting to build well-being not just into their people strategies but into their business strategies, and that's where it needs to be. So I really see we're on the crest of a wave now post-pandemic, that people are more in tune with what well-being is about, and they are more inclined to see the business benefits.
Claire, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.